We've already compared the LG G4 with the Galaxy S6, but there's one other top-tier Android device still waiting for its turn in the ring. I'm Hayato Huseman with Pocketnow, and this is the LG G4 versus the HTC One M9. When it comes to the outward hardware, leather versus metal is the most obvious difference here in both look and feel. The One M9 sports a two-piece aluminum frame, three-piece on the silver and gold variant, with precision-drilled front-firing speaker grills and a coated brush pattern back. The G4 utilizes much more plastic in its chassis, but offers the optional vegetable tan leather backing complete with genuine stitching down the spine. If leather is not your style, you can opt for more plastic with a ceramic-coated back instead. But the material choice only scratches the surface of what sets these two phones apart. For starters, the G4 is quite a bit bigger than the M9 in every dimension. It's taller, it's wider, and at its thickest point it's even a little bulkier, though it's a touch lighter than the M9 thanks to the less dense materials used. If you're like me, that all translates to a less comfortable fit in the hand, but of course your mileage may vary, and that fit is leveraged with one of LG's most identifying features, its rear-mounted hardware keys. The M9's power and volume buttons are well built, but often criticized for being too easily confused for one another. On the other hand, LG's buttons are easily distinguishable, and they sit right where your finger is likely to rest when using the phone. While we're looking at the back though, something that's not so great about the G4 is its single rear-firing speaker. It's not just that it's facing the wrong way, it's tinny, it clips at high volumes, and it pales in comparison to HTC's boom sound speakers. You get to about the same volume, but when it comes to watching Netflix or listening to music, there's no comparison here. The G4 does deliver a major victory with its 5.5-inch IPS display versus the One M9's 5-inch Super LCD 3. It packs significantly more pixels at a much higher PPI, and the colors are much more accurate. It's also hard to ignore the internal differences here. Both phones have 32GB of internal storage and the option for microSD expansion, but only the G4 has a removable battery. And comparing chipsets, the M9 should theoretically have the upper hand with its 8-core Snapdragon 810, but the G4's 6-core 808 offers nearly identical performance, and the phone itself runs markedly cooler, so we're hesitant to name a winner in specs. When it comes to the software experience, I'll just say it now. I much prefer Sense 7 on the M9 over LG's offering. While neither phone ever seemed to exhibit much of any lag, Sense just feels more cohesive, more finished. LG says that it worked closely with Google to offer a near-stock experience, but as Michael pointed out in his review, there are clashing UI elements all over the place in the G4. Features like dual window feel half-baked and limited compared to implementations from other manufacturers, but luckily for LG, HTC isn't one of them. There's no simultasking functionality on the M9, and Sense also lacks a feature like LG's Quick Memo for scribbling notes. Though it does have extensive themes to change the look of everything from icons to the lock screen and virtual buttons, something totally absent on the G4. We love that both phones come with double tap to wake functionality, and both phones also offer predictive software to make recommendations based on weather, location, and other factors, but neither really replaces the functionality of Google Now. Overall, both software experiences are fast, powerful, and useful, but features like blink feed and themes make HTC's Sense preferable in my eyes. HTC and LG are both betting big with their cameras this year, but there's no doubt which performs better, and it's by a long shot. HTC ditched its bemoaned 4-megapixel ultra-pixel setup from last year in favor of a more conventional 20-megapixel sensor. LG's camera is a bit lower in resolution with 16 megapixels, but man does this shootout remind us that megapixels aren't everything. The M9 actually performs pretty well against the G4 in well-lit environments, both providing shots that look crisp and colorful, but take these two into a dimmer setting and the difference is, well, night and day. Thanks to the G4's optical image stabilization and bright f1.8 lens, it absolutely dominates the M9, pulling in more light, capturing more detail, and just producing better photos. Both phones offer manual controls and the ability to shoot in RAW, but there's no question that LG's camera will give you better results almost 100% of the time. You can also shoot 4K video with both phones, but again, OIS makes a huge difference here.
Nerd.
Is this one of those Pocketnow things?
This is one of those Pocketnow things.
Why not Pocket later?
That's a good point.
I'm the ghost of Pocket Pass.
HTC does offer a more extensive and fun photo editing experience with features like face fusion to turn my friend Dakota Johnson into famous actress Dakota Johnson. But a fun camera isn't always a good camera, and in this regard I'd still take the G4 any day. Both phones ship with some of the latest and greatest chipsets that Qualcomm has to offer, and both have their high and low points. The M9 runs graphically intensive games a little smoother, but the G4 runs them cooler. The M9 gets significantly hotter than the G4 when you push their processors, and this is especially true when both phones are charging. Thankfully, they both offer quick charge despite early reports from LG saying otherwise, and they can both charge up from 0 to 60 in about 15 or 20 minutes. That charge will last you about the same on each phone, but I'm going to give the edge in battery to the G4. The M9's endurance is plenty good enough to last you a whole day, but the G4 manages to squeeze out an extra hour or two of juice, and when it does run dry, you can always just swap it out thanks to the G4's removable battery. I bought my M9 back at the beginning of April, and nearly 2 months later and after having used the G4, I still think I made the right choice. Its smaller footprint, great speakers, and front-facing camera make it a better fit for my needs, but if you're looking to replace your point and shoot, swap out your battery, or just turn heads at the next meeting, the G4 may better suit you. Either way, you're getting one of the very best smartphones of 2015, so hey, we're all winners here. We've already got way more coverage on both of these phones available on YouTube and at Pocketnow.com, so go ahead, explore. Just be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel while you're looking. Once again, I'm Hayato Huseman with Pocketnow, and thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.